Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This video is something special to me as I am sharing my personal experience on how I started and grown my career as a robotics engineer. By this video, I would like to break the ice for the beginners and aspiring robotics engineers. In the beginning of my career, that is after my graduation as an electronics and communication engineer, I was looking forward to become a robotics engineer. For that, I have started by searching the companies which is working in the same domain, and I have listed out the skills of the people who is working in these companies as a robotics engineer. And also I have collected data from the internet. As a result, I have ended up with a vast amount of data, with a wide list of skills and requirements to be a robotics engineer. But still, with this much amount of data in my hand, I should start from somewhere. But sadly, there were no direct roadmap on this. So in this video, I am sharing the road I took, and I recommend the same for anyone who's starting their robotics journey today. But before we getting into the learning roadmap, let's just understand the steps behind the development of a robot. So when we are coming to robot development stages, first and most important part is requirement gathering. That means we should understand the specifications of our robot before we start building it. We should be understanding the requirement of the robot from the client. So here the first part will be defining the task, goal and functionalities of the robot, and also we should understand what exact problem our robot going to solve. And in the next part it will be understanding the environment and the context. So here we should be understanding where our robot will be operating. We can define or design robot for indoor activities, outdoor activities and also for industrial applications. So we should be understanding like where our robot will be working and what are the functionalities our robot should be doing and all. Once we know all this, we can go to the next stage, that is designing. So based on these requirements, we know like which kind of robot we want. Is it a wheeled robot or a legged robot or flying thing or anything? We know everything what we need to build. We can start with robot architecture. So we will start building from robot physical structure, including components, actuators, sensors and communication system and everything our robot should be having. This we will create architecture with this. And then we will go to the software designing. So in the software designing also we will be start developing the algorithm, control system and software modules for the robot behavior and behavioral tree, FSM, finite state machine and all. So this whole planning we will be doing at this designing stage. In this stage we don't have any physical robot. We only have this concept of our robot and we have a plan like what all the algorithm will be using. So for the software part we will be defining like okay we are using our robot in the outer scenario, so we have to go with this GPS based navigation. If we are going for a indoor based robot based on our requirement, if it is a indoor based robot we will go for a SLAM and lidar based navigation. This all we will be defining at this stage. Then we will go to the next stage, that is implementation. At this stage we will give life to the designs. So we will be start with creating a 3D model and then we will go to the simulation. So for building a 3D model we can use any CAD software like Autodesk Fusion 360, SolidWorks, FreeCAD and anything. Once we completed this 3D design, we can use any open source plugins to convert this 3D robot model into URDF. URDF is a file structure which can be understood by a simulator. For the simulators like Gazebo and all, we can give this URDF file and this simulator will understand the physical parameters of our robot and we can simulate our robot in different environmental conditions. So we already know the environment at which our robot will be working. So we can create a simulator environment also inside this simulator and we can test all the scenarios based on our client requirement. So now we already know like okay our robot should go there and pick something and drop it here. So we can create this world. If it is a indoor robot or a factory, we can create a factory in the simulation world and we can put our robot there. We already have this robot model, we put our robot there and we can program it to go there and grab this and put it there. So we can understand like okay there is something wrong with the scenario or we have to do some certain actions in between also. Like all this data we'll understand and also we can test our algorithms before we putting it in the real hardware. Next step it is hardware development. So once we understand okay this is possible to create this robot like this, and we will start manufacturing the parts of the robot. Then we will be sending it to the manufacturing unit and it will be manufactured and we will get this back. Then we start assembling this. Also for the electronics part we will be designing the electronic circuit, PCBs, and we will be buying this microcontrollers, microprocessors, sensors and all. And in the electronics part we will be doing this wiring, soldering and all. And in the mechanical part we will be doing this mechanical assembly. Then we will be doing software development. So here we will be write the real software as we planned in our architecture. So we will be start building this exact software for our robot. So we will be write, debug and test the robot control software. And for the testing we will be using the simulator, because we already have a simulator robot and also the world at which the robot will be working. So if we have written a code for the navigation, so we can put it into the simulator robot and we can check like how it is behaving. So we now know how our program will behave in the real robot. Once we tested in the simulator, we can utilize the same code, and we have already done this hardware development. If it is ready, we can put it into this robot and we can keep testing. So in the implementation stage, it will be like we are developing different features for our robot and testing it in the simulator and testing it in the hardware. So we'll be developing all these pieces for our robot, all these pieces of software and hardware for our robot, and we will be testing each piece. Once we test all these pieces, then we will go to the real testing, because now we have a MVP, like minimum viable product. Once we have this MVP robot, we will be start the real testing. So in this stage, we are testing the full operation of our robot in a real condition. We will be keep on testing our robot with the full features. All the features should work together, and we will be testing everything. For this also, we will be using the simulation and the real hardware. So based on these tests, we may understand something like we have to change this hardware or we have to change this algorithm. This all we will understand, and we will keep on changing this and keep on testing this. And we will do this field test as well. Like, so we will test the robot in the simulator, and also we will test the robot in the real field. Once we finish with the testing and we satisfied with the result, then we will go to the next stage, which is deployment. Once we satisfy with our testing, every resilient test is passed, then we will go to the deployment. Here we will integrate our robot into the intended environment, and we will give the maintenance support as well. Here we will give the software updates if something is going wrong, or if we want to improve something, we will give the software update for our client. And that's all. So here it ends the robot development stages. Then we will go to understand like what are the things I should be learning to become a robotics engineer to follow such a cycle. As the video length has gone beyond my expectation, also I don't want to dump too much information in too short time. We can continue discussing the approach I have followed to end up in this fascinating career on the next video. Stay tuned. Hoping to see you on the next part.